The victims of TikTok. I'm not gonna lie, I like how that sounds.
TikTok is undoubtedly one of the most toxic places on the internet. With a culture of uncontrolled clout chasing, dangerous challenges, and senseless cancellations, there's been a few...
You know what? I'm gonna be real. I like that. That is my favorite part about TikTok. The more senseless, the more stupid, the more dangerous, the more potentially backfiring the challenge is, the worse the trend gets, the happier I am. Because when I inevitably will hear about that thing happening on Twitter or YouTube, that's gonna put the bigger smile on my face, I'm not gonna lie. You know what's my opinion, honestly? That secretly China is trying to do the West a solid favor about this, because they've seen the degeneracy and they made TikTok. And they're allowing all of these dangerous, reckless, and stupid challenges and actions to easily persist, even though they have fully all the necessary tools to stop it. But they won't, because these people are deleting themselves out of the gene pool at rapid pace. And, well, the world's the winner when they do that. So, yeah, that's what I think.
Casualties over its 6-year history. One of the most well-known of them has been OnlyJS. Now, if you look at her profile on TikTok today, nothing seems too out of the ordinary. Most of her videos about things like life hacks or facts about animals. It's generally harmless content, and nothing would suggest that she's been called the most hated content creator on TikTok. But if you scroll down a little, you'll see that she was getting at least double the amount of views a year ago, and even more a year before that. So what happened here? Well, on TikTok, the court of public opinion is always in session, and a couple of years ago, it turned its sights on OnlyJS. She had always been quick to respond to hate comments and negative feedback. In 2020, just a year into her TikTok career, she tweeted about how angry she would get over hate comments and how she couldn't deal with them. Despite her inability to deal with the fame, her
sounds like your typical millennial
channel kept growing
situation where, you know, if someone tells them something bad about themselves, they need to immediately schedule an out of the ordinary, extra special, right now visit to their psychiatric facility because they can't deal with the pressures on their own. Yeah, seems about right.
Growing, gaining over 6 million followers from July 2020 to 2021. And it didn't take long for TikTokers to realize she was an easy target they could use to boost their own profile on the site. And it all kicked off in February 2021, when some DMs from 4 years ago were leaked. They included OnlyJS belittling an unknown influencer, insulting them and their parents, as well as dropping
What do you mean, unknown influencer? These two words cannot coexist in the same sentence. How can you be unknown but an influencer at the same time? How? That's a paradox.
the N-word. Even though she was clearly going through something, it was pretty awful stuff. But you still need to ask the question of whether what happened next was justified, as immediately, TikTokers and influencers jumped on the opportunity to call out a larger creator. After the 7th call-out video, OnlyJS went on a rant against Aunt Karen, as well as her blaming her own ADHD for being slow to respond.
I have a diagnosed neurological.
Oh my god, who doesn't have ADHD, BLPM, and SSPRI7? Okay? If you're 20, if you don't have at least 12 mental illnesses on your resume, are you even trying hard enough, honestly, at this point? No, you aren't. This is like the Special Olympics. The more illnesses you have on your resume, the more special of a snowflake you are. And your goal in life, especially on TikTok, is to be the most special snowflake.
Disorder that makes me forget things and procrastinate due to time blindness.
Holy moly, I probably have exactly what she's having. Wow, that has happened to me also. Oh, relatable. Hashtag.
At this point, the hate that OnlyJS was getting at least had a good reason. But after all of this had happened, people knew they could get to her with almost anything. A few months later, she made a joke about guide dogs, and the whole thing happened all over again.
If a service dog ever approaches you but they're alone, that means that their owner's in trouble and they probably can't move, so you should follow him, because you'll get a free wallet.
A whole community of people almost instantly jumped on OnlyJS.
That was funny. It's true though, also, it is a free wallet.
Calling her out and saying that she had harmed their community, incited violence, and made them feel—
oh no, look at this. It's literally what you would expect. People with strange colored things on their face and old-looking Karen-y type of women with no families. Oh wow, she really hit the jackpot in the offensive list here.
It made them feel unsafe.
OnlyJS is not a good creator, should not be followed, and should not be listened to.
All over a mediocre joke which she had labeled as a joke in her video. And as if that wasn't enough, another creator came out, alleging that she had also ghosted him
Another creator ghosted him? Oh no!
He offered to collaborate with her after the incident. He also said that she had used a ghostwriter for the apology.
I then tried to help him to the best of my ability while still being extremely angry and frustrated. Helped with a good bit of the apology, especially the part.
Okay, he should have instantaneously just leapt on the horse that's already out there in the plains. That's called she only picked me because I'm black. Also, yeah, that's what he should have done. Well, by the way, I was her ghostwriter. If anyone doesn't know this intriguing situation, yeah, I'm coming out, boys. I was her ghostwriter for whatever is claimed that needed a ghostwriter here. It was me.
About black creatives. When we were both talking about that part in the apology, I really did think that they would hold up their end of the bargain, you know?
The ball kept rolling, and eventually a petition was created to kick her off of TikTok entirely, gaining over 400,000 signatures. Obviously, it didn't work, but OnlyJS still saw a massive drop in likes, views, and followers. Even today, despite carrying on her videos, she's never recovered from the backlash, and God knows what her mental health's like today. And it doesn't really matter that OnlyJS was wrong to say those things or keep responding like she did. The way that so many people jumped on the bandwagon and got their content from her downfall is all too common. It's not just a problem
I like that.
on TikTok, of course. On Twitter and here on YouTube, the problem's still there. But on TikTok, it's like the dial has been turned up to 11. There's thousands of different segmented groups, all with their own causes and agendas to push, along with their own triggers and things you just can't make a joke about. When they find someone who's popular that they can call out, they'll jump on it. Whichever side of the fence you're on, you can't deny that TikTok is brutal when it comes to
You see, the problem is, if you're in some, if you kind of are in those types of communities or whatever, I have the defensive of calling them just mentally insane and crazy, right? But people like that don't have that opportunity because that's considered bad. So, you know, it is what it is. You dig your own grave.
canceling people. If you have any sort of a following and you show weakness or make a mistake, thousands of people will be ready to tear you down for content and clout. And once you're on their radar, everything you say or do will be watched like a hawk for the slightest misstep. Thousands of comedians make more offensive jokes than OnlyJS every single day without anyone caring at all. But once you're...
Wait, how old is this video? 4 weeks ago. The comedians are not getting any longer away with this. They're getting cancelled left, right, and center currently.
Profiled on the site as an easy target and a punching bag, there's nothing you can do to shake the reputation. Meanwhile, creators who do things that are much worse and that should get them cancelled,
it's our boy Logan Paul. Or Jake Paul, I can't tell the difference.
and get away pretty much unscathed. Just like schoolyard bullying, it's all about the reaction. If people can get something out of calling you out, then it's gonna keep happening. If you don't respond, they'll eventually move on to the next target. It's understandable when you consider that TikTok users, especially the ones who care about drama, are mostly immature kids. If that's who the algorithms are placating, then they're going to set the atmosphere for the entire site. The danger is that with how absorbed kids are in TikTok, that this culture is just gonna carry on like an
Oh, Jesus Christ, what the hell is this? Oh yeah, obviously something like this is gonna be talking about my feelings are hurt.
high school. Toxicity on TikTok isn't just limited to the
Oh, look at that, and this woman has a name tattoo down her neck. I mean, that's clearly an extremely good sign of mental stability. Nice.
Itself, though, an entire generation of children growing up today could have their futures ruined by its influence. Kids coming back to school after the pandemic are noticeably harder to teach. 70% of a survey of 1,000 teachers from across the US agreed. Their attention spans have gone down the drain, and now barely any of them can focus, and teachers are struggling to keep them working for more than 5 minutes at a time. So
I mean, there's an easy solution to this. Punishment. Yeah. Again, you know... What's the point of punishment if no one fears the punishment? Just asking, just asking a question here.
So what happened here? Well, when the pandemic hit, a whole year of school and lessons were done remotely. During that time, pretty much nothing got done. It wasn't the teacher's fault. There's no way for them to stop people just opening up another browser tab or going on their phone. I mean, can you blame the kids though? With distraction just seconds away from their fingertips, and TikTok's targeted short bursts of dopamine on tap.
Well, you can't blame the kids, but you sure as hell can blame the parents.
For a year straight, most of them didn't have a chance. For tons of
I mean, look at modern day schooling for kids. How does it work? You know how it works? I'll tell you how it works. You have parents that are literally taking kids to school and with the express idea that the school is going to teach them everything about life and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, if the school tries to teach them something about life that they don't agree with, they're instantaneously mad and their kid can't, gets special exemptions and stuff like this. How can you teach someone something about life to these kids if you can't punish them or anything like that because the parent instantaneously defends their kid? Like, what's the point of it? It's completely dumb.
Children, TikTok was pretty much their entire life for a year. It was how they got their social connection, through the app in 10-second bursts. Once they get back to the real world, it's hard for it to compare. But once they go back to school, they were put straight back into the boring environment of the classroom, where you need to spend hours focusing on the most mundane work possible. Lots of them couldn't deal with it, especially with how much most kids had to catch up on after the year at home. As in all the other pandemic stresses, and you get the situation teachers are dealing with.
Again, like, look here's your problem. Crystal clear. Students are increasingly refusing to go to school. It's becoming a mental health crisis. No, it's teach your kids what happens when their ass meets the whoosh thing, not the whip though. The other one. Yeah, a belt. That's right. This is not a mental health crisis. This is literally no borders and you can't do anything wrong crisis.
After the year at home, as in all the other pandemic stresses, and you get the situation teachers are dealing with today.
Behavior versus books? US students are rowdier than ever post-COVID. How is a teacher to teach? Well, in America they don't teach them anyway, unless it's like gender fluidity and whatnot, so I don't see the loss.
A whole generation of children who are the victims of TikTok in this way, on top of what modern life is already throwing at them. Even the ones who buckled down and didn't miss much work over the pandemic are suffering because of it. If the teachers are constantly dealing with the consequences of TikTok attention spans, then there's far less time to actually teach the things these kids will need in life. Unfortunately, while it might be the most widespread of TikTok's problems, it's definitely not the most harmful or insidious. I mean, if you've ever been awake at any point in the past 5 years, you've probably heard about TikTok challenges. The formula seems to be for kids to think about the most dangerous or stupid thing they could possibly do, make a video of them doing it, then posting it online for millions to watch. One example is the ice cream licking challenge, a stunt popularized during the pandemic, where you lick ice cream in the shop and then put it back on the shelf.
We should have just executed anyone who did that on the spot. I think that would solve the issue. Oh, and he does a double. What a giga chat.
It's the milk crate challenge.
Oh, this was my favorite. I covered this one. Oh, man. This was good. This was so good. So many people got life-altering, crippled situation. Dude, you fall from a height of 3 milk crates, you can already easily just, break something or, have something really, really bad happen to you. You fall from that high, bruh? Congratulations! Now you're a vegetable. You can, I don't know how vegetables identify themselves. Maybe they, them, who knows? But congratulations, you just received new pronouns. And they were forcefully applied to you because you couldn't answer.
Yourself walking up a stack of precarious boxes, which resulted in tons of falls and hospital visits. Both of these idiotic ideas pale in comparison to the most dangerous and reckless one of them all. The challenge. In 2021, videos on TikTok started spreading.
Oh, I think I know this one. This is when this is
which
nice.
Detailed instructions on how to cut off your breathing for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
The goal was the rush of adrenaline and lightheadedness you experience from your brain running out of oxygen. Obviously, it's a terrible, fatal idea, but through the lens of a TikTok game, it became all the more appealing.
Well, this didn't obviously spread a lot outside of America, so, nothing of value was lost.
Between 2021 and 2022, it was linked to the deaths of 20 kids, 15
Only?
of which were under 12 years old. Now, you can put a lot of
Oh, that is so disappointing. You would think those numbers should be higher. America, try harder.
Blame on TikTok store. For years, it's been pitifully easy for young kids to sign up on the app, and the developers of TikTok know how dangerous their algorithm can be. Mixed with the fact that pretty much any
of course they know, because the unironical truth of TikTok, it is used by China to literally try and destroy the West. That is actually its goal. Because if you did not know, China has its own version of TikTok. Do you know what kind of similarities it has to this TikTok? None. The Chinese version of TikTok is literally only exclusively used to host wholesome content. Yeah. They have all the abilities to instantaneously remove any potentially dangerous trend that's happening in America. They have so much potential on fixing everything on the platform in a matter of seconds. Oh, but they will never do that. Because they want your kids to be stupid. They want your kids to hurt themselves. It is what it is.
5-year-old can check a box saying that they're over 13, and you get a recipe for disaster. Without active policing and searching for underage users, it's just gonna keep happening. TikTok also tried putting...
Now, admittedly, I will say this. When I was 9, we and the boys also found porn sites and whatnot, and we clicked that we were over 18. It didn't even cross our minds what happens if we lie about it. But the situation from now, what's currently happening, and 20 years ago, is personal accountability. We understood that stupid things have consequences. But nowadays, there are no consequences. But we understood if we do something stupid, if we cost our parents money, it's not going to be good. It's going to be real bad for us. But nowadays, accountability is just lost. We burnt down almost woods. We burnt out planes. We almost set houses on fire while playing with fire. Nowadays, that does not get done because people are afraid of stuff like that. We did stupid shit constantly, okay? Without exception because it was fun. But we understood that there's consequences to our actions, so we were careful. As careful as you potentially could be while you're risking burning down forest because, flame burn really brightly and you kind of get addicted to the fire.
Restrictions on the keywords related to the challenge, showing people warnings about how dangerous it is instead of videos telling them how to do it.
A 12-year-old boy is on life support after his parents say he may have tried a social media challenge.
Tell me the bad news that he's not going to survive,
Nice.
he's not going to make it.
Oh,
I just
no.
couldn't think of it, I couldn't imagine.
It was too little too late for some though. It didn't make up for their algorithm promoting it in the first place. Lawsuits filed by the parents in the US against TikTok and ByteDance failed to land. Despite their inability to keep young kids off the platform, they aren't legally responsible for what people post on the app. After the
Obviously.
Italian government demanded they put more focus on removing underage accounts, TikTok banned over 500,000 accounts. Now, of course, you can't entirely blame TikTok for this.
Oh, wow, look at this. Dude, the gravity has like 5 times the effect on her than other people. She's already in the hospital.
Predators have existed for years, but if kids find out about them through TikTok rather than from other kids, they're much more likely to try and do them by themselves. It makes these sons far more dangerous. Nobody there to help them when it goes wrong. And in our dystopian era of tablet parenting, kids are often left with their devices for hours at a time. Every year, it gets more acceptable for younger children.
I mean, we were left with a TV as our, nannies and whatnot for hours at a time. Or even worse, we were left outside there, not knowing how to swim, but open bodies of water near us. Good times, no one died. Abandoned buildings where you were playing on the 2nd floor that is not constructually sound or finished and doesn't have actual floors and you need to run across the beams. We all survived. Some magically, how I'm still honestly not sure how none of us died because we did risk lives very often. Anyway.
To get their own devices with barely any supervision. The internet is incredibly dangerous for children who don't have the ability to think things through or see the obvious dangers lurking around every corner on the app. It changes their whole worldview in their formative years if they're being raised by TikTok rather than actual human beings. And with how widespread it is, we're only going to see more incredibly dangerous challenges and even more victims of TikTok. One problem that TikTok is definitely responsible for, though, is the grooming of underage users on TikTok Live.
Oh, I was wondering when this conversation is gonna start because TikTok's full of underage kids doing bad things. If you know what I mean.
Forbes' report investigating hundreds of different live streams last year found tons of examples of predatory behavior. Despite TikTok Live allegedly having an 18+ age limit, kids as young as 8 years old regularly slip past the incredibly loose checks. On the platform, they quickly gain a viewing from creeps treating it as an underage strip club. They make requests, asking the young
I remember this a year and a half ago or 2 years. So there was a video trending about this topic, about how TikTok literally just shoves it in your face that stuff like this is out there.
Girls to show off parts of their bodies like their feet, or asking them to flash for the camera. For these favors, money is sent both through external sites like Cash App, but also through TikTok's own virtual gifts, which can be exchanged for cash. And TikTok's massive 50% commission that's taken on these kinds of gifts could be one reason why they haven't cracked down on these awful practices harder. It's illegal exploitation, plain and simple. Obviously, it isn't really the kids' fault. Lots of them probably barely have an idea of what they're actually being paid for. And TikTok is at least doing something to try and put a stop to this stuff.
That's true, though, also 100%.
The accounts eventually get banned, and they've tightened the rules on who...
Eventually. What do you mean, eventually? This is what TikTok does. I can guarantee you this is exactly what they do. They eventually ban the account after that account has already garnered a pretty decent amount of attention, and so much attention that there is a very, very high likelihood that the person behind that account is going to just make another account and try again because of the attention that they have garnered.
Who can go live or get donations through the app. But instead of cracking down on the kids, TikTok should be going after the creeps that make up the audience for it. You see, instead of permanently banning them and calling the authorities, TikTok pretty much gives them a slap on the wrist. Late documents about their policies and people sending sexual messages.
Yeah, because just watching it is obviously not illegal. You can't make it illegal because that would just kind of destroy the world, I guess. But yeah. Obviously, they're never gonna do that. They're never gonna go after those people.
Just the kids on the app shows that TikTok is using.
But they do in China, by the way. Well, in China it's kind of different, but at least they kind of do there.
An awfully lenient 3-strike system. People caught sending the messages would first be given a 1-week ban, then a 1-month ban if they get caught again.
Wow.
It's only after the 3rd time they get caught sending these messages that they would get banned permanently from the app, and that's if they get caught at all. Former TikTok moderators spoke about how there was often a backlog of thousands of flagged messages.
Oh yeah, I have heard about this. 2020. Yep, seems about right.
At any one time, and that it could take them days to get to.
Yeah, this was a whole scandal that TikTok has all of these accounts, but they literally just refuse to process them, so it is what it is.
Them, with more falling through the cracks. On top of that, when they looked at the kids' accounts, there would often be 10 or more adults messaging each kid. TikTok says these policies have been tightened and made stricter in recent years, but considering...
Oh, everyone knows that's a lie. I can make the most draconian rules possible, but I can still choose to not enforce them. Or, enforce them only when, it's about time or something like that. There is nothing that can be done. TikTok destroying people, it is what it is. Anyway, I think that's the end of the video. That was Moon. Good times, boys. Good times. Anyway, this was Cruiser Citizen. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. Have a nice day. Bye-bye. Stay off of TikTok.